February the 11th, we are here at Metropolitan United Methodist Church with the Reverend Dr. Howard Hinson as our pastor. We're asking him today, what does Black History Month mean to you?
That's a good question. Black History Month is very, very important in the African American community. And the reason why is that the people who write history determines very often what and who is important. We do not have many persons who are writing about Black history.
Okay.
So what Black History Month does is it gives us a chance once a year to kind of stop and pause and say, who are the people who have been great pioneers and leaders in the African American community that we need to celebrate, that we need to remember, that we need to imitate. And so Black History Month, what I like about it is I'm so busy during the year that I rarely think about great African American people.
Right.
But during Black History Month, I put that on my front burner.
Okay.
And I celebrate the great people who have made history in this country. I celebrate their contributions and their legacy. So that's why Black History Month is important to me. Follow up with a question.
Okay, great. So with the great Dr. Martin Luther King, was he more of a prophet for the civil rights movement?
Yes, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Was really America's prophet. Okay, he was not just the prophet of the civil rights movement, but he was the prophet of justice in America.
Yes.
And that's for everybody.
Do you feel that he's been highlighted a little bit too much, that when the Black History Month does come upon us for the February, that everybody goes directly to Dr. Martin Luther King, or they do the Harriet Tubman? Do you feel like he's been highlighted as much as he should, or should it be more?
Well, Dr. King is one of those persons in a lifetime. He needs to continuously be celebrated for who he was and what he did in America. As I said, he's America's prophet. America doesn't have many prophets. But Dr. King stands out as one of America's prophets. So he has rightly earned the acclaim that he has received, that he does receive, and we need to continue on. But having said that, I must also hasten to say that Dr. King is not the only one African American person in American history who needs to be celebrated. There are many.
I agree.
Many more, along with Dr. King, along with President Barack Obama, along with the first African American Supreme Court Justice from Maryland.
Thurgood Marshall.
Yes, Thurgood Marshall. All of these people need to be celebrated year after year after year after year.
Yes. Now, with the legacy, we just had a great loss to Maryland with Elijah Cummings passing away. What do you think he would say right now when we had 4 black people to be killed last night? 4 deaths last night. So far, we're on a record of 36 this year.
Yes,
And the
well,
great words of him, what do you think he would say right now during this Black History Month? That on his street, there's so much bloodshed in his town.
well, I think his heart would be broken.
I definitely agree.
It's not very often that you see a man cry, but he was the kind of man whose compassion for people was so great that I could imagine that if he didn't do it publicly, that he would be shedding tears for the people who have been killed and for their families. He cared a great deal for the people of Baltimore. I think he would be weeping for this city. And I'd be right there weeping with him.
It's a
Because what is going on is not just a Maryland tragedy, it is an American tragedy. And I would have to ask the question that the Old Testament prophets asked in their day when they faced situations like we're facing in Baltimore today. They cried out to the Lord, "How long, O Lord? How long do we have to go through this and suffer through this before things begin to change for the better?" And that's where I am, and that's where a lot of people are today in regards to Baltimore. But we have some plans in mind, some things to do in the very near future that we hope will help to begin to break that vicious cycle of self-destruction in our great city, beautiful city, wonderful city of Baltimore, Maryland.
You've given us exactly what we needed, Pastor. We thank you so much for this talk today. We're going to finish on that note. We'll start back on next Tuesday, and our question will be on the theme of what can the church do to help the pastors? How can the community help the pastors lead better and help our situation? So we thank you today with the pastor,
All right.
Dr. Reverend Howard Hinson of United Methodist Church on 1121 West Lambert Street. Thank you.